Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman as we are live here on a Thursday, giving you guys the latest news and rumors around your favorite football team. And we are going to be talking about quarterback JJ McCarthy a whole lot on today's show. This kid is still getting slack on social media. So we'll discuss that, but also be talking about the Ravens game as well. And if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Ravens, just give me those SKOLs down below in the comments section. I already got 100 real ones in the building, rocking and rolling with us. Reed Southern, what's going on? Braxton in the building. We got Lucas, Connor Vikings, Joey Tana, Braxton again, Soup Man, Lucas, Externo, Lego Fell. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And you maybe ask yourself, what's the good news? Or what's the great news, actually, is JJ McCarthy continues to get ripped on social media. You know, first it was even dating back to his days at Michigan. Always a handoff merchant. He can't throw the football. He can't win and put the team on his back. And then once he went and did that, now people are criticizing how he carries himself in the locker room and on the field during the game. And the chip is going to continue to build for number 9. It's just ludicrous. He gets more slack and more hate on social media than possibly any quarterback I've ever seen making their first 3 career starts. So we'll talk about that. It is just absolutely ridiculous. It's a bunch of guys that have never played, in my opinion, any high level of competitive sports in their lives, and they just can't comprehend. Sometimes, it's not all athletes, but some guys have to get to that certain spot when they put on that helmet. They need to feel that alter ego, not be a nice guy anymore, because JJ McCarthy is a very nice dude, very well spoken. But once he gets on that football field, you can see that flip switch. So we'll talk about that. We'll also be talking about the Vikings-Ravens game. So you guys predict the score for me down below. It's a battle of the purple this weekend at U.S. Bank Stadium. I think the Vikings are going to win this one. I predicted a 30-17 victory, and I think the defense is going to show out yet again. But we talk about this game. But if you guys could predict the score for me down below, as Jetta saying, I'm a freaking psycho when I play sports and I'm a teen and I love JJ. Oh, when I was playing high school sports back in the day, I was a lunatic, almost to a fault to a certain point. But yeah, I just don't think people understand, and it's not everybody. Like some people when they're playing sports, like they have that kind of Kawhi Leonard, character to them where they're just more calm, relaxed, and they don't really love to get ass fired up. But then you got guys like Tom Brady, JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson has an alter ego, and people think JJ kind of got up to the podium, was like, guys, I have an alter ego. I call him number 9. He was asked about his alter ego, and then he said he calls it 9, just to give a good quote. And people are just running with it, calling him the cringiest athlete in the NFL, comparing him to Russell Wilson, which is just absolutely ridiculous. They have complete opposite personalities, and I just think it's insane. But we do have the injury news coming from the Thursday practice. The good news here, Will Fries will be practicing in full today, so that's positive. Same with Harrison Smith back at practice. Just had a veteran rest day on Wednesday. Christian Darrisaw taking his typical Thursday practice off, so no concerns there. But also Josh Metellus upgraded the full, and then we also have Theo Jackson and Aaron Jones practicing today, as there were DMPs on Wednesday, but they are limited for the Thursday practice. So all positivity coming from the injury report on Thursday for the Minnesota Vikings. But let me ask you guys' thoughts on this. Is JJ McCarthy the most hated on QB in the NFL? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down below. Reed Southern, we will have a mailbag on today's show, so use #Vikings if you guys want to get a question in there. And yeah, Gavin, the last 4 times the Vikings lost to the Ravens, they fired their head coach, and then when they beat the Ravens, they went to the NFC title game. Probably one of the weirdest stats in the NFL. That is just unreal that there are 2 extremes on each opposite end of the spectrum, whether the Vikings beat the Ravens or whether the Vikings lose to the Ravens. But honestly, my answer to this would, like the most hated on QB in the NFL, I would still probably say no. There are other quarterbacks that get criticized, just as much, if not more, than JJ McCarthy, but he's definitely up there. And just for, no reason. But also it's a good thing. Like, you want your quarterback to get hated on. Like, all this chirping, all this noise around his name, it means he's winning football games. Because if he didn't beat the Lions, nobody would really care. But people care because he beat the Lions. He's a very polarizing player, and I absolutely love it. So, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Is JJ McCarthy the most hated on QB in the NFL? As Jed is saying, him and Caleb Williams. Caleb's more protected than any quarterback in the league. And my pick would be Patrick Mahomes. I don't really think Mahomes is that hated on. I mean, when you're a 3-time champ, or is he a 3-time champ? Yeah, 3-time champ. Jalen Hurts, super hated on as well, but he's a winner. Like, normally when you win a lot of football games, you get hated on. So I think it's a good thing there. But Coming up on today's show, I do want to dive into some JJ McCarthy hype, just get you guys on board for this Week 10 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens and have you guys rallying around your franchise QB. Then also be doing another segment. The Vikings will beat the Ravens if they do these 5 things. And at the tail half of today's live show, we'll have a mailbag. So if you guys want to get those questions up on screen right next to me, use hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on the show. Just a dollar icon down below in the live chat. And if you guys are ready to rock and roll, hit that thumbs up icon. We got 130 people in the building, only 25 likes right now. So if we could get up to 40 likes, we'll start today's first segment talking about JJ McCarthy. We got Clay in the building saying, "Hey Patrick, how you doing? I am fantastic. Gonna be a good day. Got a lot I'm excited to talk about, which is always a good thing here on the program. Probably get pretty fired up here in this first segment talking about JJ McCarthy. Connor Vikings saying, "Sup Pat? What up, dude? How you doing?" JJ McCarthy in the building saying, "Trust me, I got y'all. I hope you do, number 9. Hope you do." Saying, "I'm going to lock in on Sunday." Hell yeah. Love to hear it, my friend. Love to hear it. Mason in the building saying, "What's up, Patrick? What's going on, Mason? Thanks for tuning in." But we did just cross over 40 likes, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the JJ McCarthy slander he's been getting on social media. Are you going to watch the game tonight? I'll probably have it on, but it's kind of a stinker. Kind of a stinker for Thursday night game. George saying, "If we beat the Ravens this Sunday, we could beat anybody. We beat the Lions last week in Detroit, them coming off a bye. We can beat any team in the National Football League. They proved that last Sunday." I'm so bored saying, "Hey, Pat, McCarthy is going to cook on Sunday." I'm with you. I think JJ's going to have a big-time game. All right, if you guys are ready to rock and roll, give me those SKOLs down below, and let's talk about JJ McCarthy and the hate he's been getting on social media. After JJ McCarthy went into Detroit and beat the Lions this past Sunday, social media has been killing this guy over the last couple of days. And coming up on today's show, I'm going to be explaining to you guys why everyone will be wrong about Vikings quarterback JJ McCarthy. What's going on, everyone? My name is Patrick Siepman. You are watching Vikings Now. So I want to start off with a couple of tweets here. And it was a Vikings Twitter account. They tweeted the video of JJ McCarthy after the game in the locker room when Kevin O'Connell, he was hyping it up, telling JJ, saying, "Hey, the guys in this locker room, they're going to ride for you. They're going to go to war with you." And McCarthy, you looked like he was in a trance. He was looking at KOC. He looked like a dog foaming at the mouth, ready to go fetch a chew toy. He was ready to go. You saw how locked in he was. And these are some of the quote tweets saying, "I love this sport a ton, but it's amazing how much of it is performative." So clearly just a hating tweet on JJ McCarthy coming in from a Bears fan. But then an Ohio State fan decided to tune in. This had a lot of traction on social media. Also, all these tweets that I'm showing you guys, they have all gotten over 100,000 views on Twitter. So he said this, "Bro did this after 140 yards. LOL. Oh, he also had 3 touchdowns. Also had the game-winning throw on 3rd and 5 in Detroit in his 3rd ever career start." So another ludicrous hater tweet. And then a Michigan State fan, we're seeing a trend here, saying this dude is legitimately the most cringe athlete I have ever seen. So a Bears fan, an Ohio State fan, and a Michigan State fan are all ripping JJ McCarthy. Well, those are 3 teams that JJ McCarthy has never lost to. Kind of see the trend there. And for people saying this is performative or JJ McCarthy's acting for the cameras, number one, JJ McCarthy doesn't give a damn about the cameras. He doesn't give a damn about what I say about him, and he sure as hell doesn't give a damn about some random Twitter account trying to rip him to get likes and interactions. And I promise you, going to high school with the kid, he has been this way since he was 14 years old. He has been a psycho, unreal competitor since he was a freshman in high school. He's always had this in him. But he may be saying, "Well, Patrick, what if he is acting a little bit?" Offensive guard Will Fries, when asked about JJ McCarthy and that alter ego he has, saying this, "It's real. The look in his eyes doesn't waver from snap 1 to snap 65. The intensity, the moxie. You just believe that he can make something happen at any time." So Will Fries is saying it, but hey, NFL fans 767 on Twitter, they know more about the Vikings starting quarterback than the freaking offensive guard. It is truly some of the most ludicrous stuff I've seen floated out there on social media over the last couple of weeks. I absolutely love it because you know what? JJ McCarthy wouldn't be getting hated on if he wasn't winning football games, and that's exactly what he has done so far in just 3 career starts, and he's going to continue to do it and continue to prove people wrong. So if you guys want to show JJ McCarthy some love, give me those 9s down below. Even some Vikings fans are saying it's a cringy act. And listen, You can call it cringy. You can call it whatever you want, but it's just who he is. It is in his DNA. He's not faking it. I think that is absolutely ludicrous. So if you guys want to show him some love, give me those 9s down below. And no, listen, here's just a thought for people. Maybe JJ McCarthy is just a psycho competitor, and he goes into a trance on game day. And, that happens with a lot of these all-time great athletes. And that's not all athletes, because some all-time great athletes are like Kawhi Leonard, where they're more like soft-spoken. They want to keep to themselves, not show a lot of emotion on game day. Well, JJ McCarthy is the opposite of that. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. He wants to be, fully in the game and fully feeling every single emotion. That's just who he is. It's in his DNA. And can the kid celebrate a divisional win? Like, he just went into Detroit in his third ever career start as a 9.5-point underdog and beat a Lions team that the Vikings have yet to beat on the road in the Kevin O'Connell era. So all this hate, all this noise around him, you know what it's going to do? It's just going to keep on building that chip on that kid's shoulder. And he has been ridiculed. He has been hated on since his days, even dating back to Michigan, where people were saying, they were cheating. He's a handoff merchant. Then when he was coming out of the draft, people were doubting him. Then people are saying the Vikings soft benched him, which is one of the worst takes ever. And now people are saying he is faking it for the cameras. He's a fake demon, whatever the hell that means the kids are saying nowadays. It's just absolutely insane. But JJ, he was asked about his alter ego. He did not bring this up in the press conference. He was asked by a reporter, and this is what he said. He says, for me, I call him 9. 9 comes out, and I got to understand, okay, he can't be at his peak performance throughout 3.5 hours. So how do I find little ways on the sideline to get back to my breath, get back to my visualization, that kind of maintain that intense competitive stamina throughout the whole game? But yeah, it's just your pure will and determination to get the job done. And people who are clowning him for saying this, you guys are just straight up fools. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. And plus, it's just loser shit. You are ridiculing a 22-year-old kid for how he just treats himself on game day. And also, if you have a problem with JJ McCarthy having an alter ego, you have never played competitive sports in your life. And that's not me saying people who have all played competitive sports, they have an alter ego, but some of the all-time greats do. And listen, I was kind of a lunatic when I was playing back in the day. And I also had teammates who were very good, who were not lunatics, who kept to themselves. But to just say that JJ is faking it and to say that he is playing it up for the cameras, it is just some loser stuff where you have never truly been in a locker room where you have some teammates who truly do act like that. Not all athletes do, but some of them do. And, another Michigan quarterback did the exact same thing. This dude turned into a psychopath on game day. Brady was the exact same way. Now, did he come out and say he called it his alter ego 12, which, I'm not trying to argue here if JJ McCarthy calling his alter ego 9 or calling it cringy or calling himself 9, is it cringy or not? I don't really give a shit. But Tom Brady did the same thing. He entered a trance on game days, and every all-time great athlete truly does have an alter ego when they step on the field. You have to kind of get lost in that trance. And for people looking it up, Patrick Mahomes had a quote from last training camp where he called it Petty Patrick, talking about when he was out there on the football field, where he wants to be petty and he wants to give it to the opponents. So all these guys, whatever they have to do to get themselves ready for a 60-minute battle out there on the football field, that's what they got to do. So stop killing the kid for it. It's embarrassing. You got grown-ass men out there who are 40 to 50 years old ridiculing a 22-year-old kid doing more in his life in 22 years than they have done in the entire life here on this planet. But also, I love how polarizing JJ is. I think this is a great thing for Vikings fans. I truly do believe that, because finally we have a quarterback who's got some freaking moxie, who's got some dog. Sam Darnold, he was a different type of guy. Sam Darnold's a great quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year, but he didn't have that moxie. He didn't have that polarization around him, and especially Kirk Cousins definitely did not have that polarization around his name, but JJ is just that. So let me ask you guys this. Is JJ McCarthy the most hated on QB in the NFL? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. I'm still going to say no to this question, but he is on a short list. I think still guys like Jalen Hurts, he gets too much hate for what he's done in the league. And listen, JJ still hasn't done anything. He's only played in 3 games. He's 2-0 in the division, both on the road. He's done a little bit, but I'm going to still probably say no to this question. But if you guys disagree with me, let me know your thoughts down below. Now we'll get to more on McCarthy here in a second, but today's episode is brought to you guys by PrizePicks. Now the hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Now, PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks. I mean, you can pick up to the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. And for example, if you guys want to take more on JJ McCarthy's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns this weekend against the Baltimore Ravens, well, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. And you guys can also check out this new feature where it allows you to follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or to someone whose picks you like. Hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. So I'll have this link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. But download the PrizePicks app today, plug in promo code CONS, get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CONS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, since another topic of conversation around JJ McCarthy is, his stats. Look at his EPA per play. Look at his completion percentage. Enough. When the biggest moments in the game arrive, he plays his best football. This was an example of it. You're up 17-14, more than halfway through the third quarter, on the road in Detroit. No Justin Jefferson on this play. What does JJ McCarthy do? He takes it over. Rolls out to his right, puts a move on Anzalone, runs right by him. He could have put Brian Branch in the dirt on this play. It was actually a funny clip of him coming up to the sideline to Josh McCown. He was saying, I was about to boom his ass. And then McCown was saying, you are not allowed to boom anybody. I thought that was a pretty funny moment. But then JJ finished the job, got in the end zone, started to hit the gritty. So, again, everybody complaining, he only threw for 150 yards. His completion percentage wasn't that good. What was his EPA per play? EPA my ass. This kid, in the biggest moments, plays his best football. And the best example of that was on the 3rd and 5 to close this thing out. In Detroit, playing your division rival, a place you haven't won since 2020. If you don't pick this up, the Detroit Lions probably win this football game. But what does Kevin O'Connell do? He puts the ball in the hands of his franchise quarterback. JJ drops back, great protection up front. Shout out to Brian O'Neill for dirty Nathan Hutchinson. And JJ McCarthy delivers an absolute strike to Jalen Nailor. Right on the money. Nailor makes a hell of a catch. But again, KOC knows this. The guys in the locker room know this. When you are late in the fourth quarter and you need to make winning football plays, he is going to do that. And I fully mean this. And the only sport where this is acceptable is baseball. When you hop in the analytics sheet and you hop in the spreadsheets, I think that is fine. But I have seen this go too far in the NBA, and it's starting to come over in the NFL, and it's driving me crazy. These guys, and I'm not saying it doesn't have any value at all. Like, I think EPA is a fine stat. Estimated points added per play. Like, I think it's fine. But these spreadsheet and analytical nerds are ruining sports social media coverage because that's all they view it as. Like, they don't actually watch these games. They just look at the spreadsheet. They see, JJ McCarthy, he's 35th in EPA per play in the NFL. He must not be playing good football. There is something about, like, when just the biggest moments of every game arrive where, like, they should be more weighted in those advanced analytics, but they're not. And also, like, let's just say if you're, Tyler Shuck of the New Orleans Saints, and you're down 27-10 to Los Angeles Rams, they're playing soft zone coverage. It's weighted the exact same compared to JJ McCarthy on a 3rd and 5 late in the game against Detroit. Like, just all those analytics are starting to ruin how people cover sports and starting to ruin how we view some of these athletes. Now, I say all that to say this. Vikings fans, we do need to be patient with JJ. By no means did he play a perfect game against the Detroit Lions. He left a lot of meat on that bone, but he also showed a lot of flashes. He had some ridiculous throws throughout that game. He closed the game out, and he needs to play better, but I'm very confident he will. Like, this kid's going to continue to grow. We have seen him grow already so much in just 3 career starts. And for everybody hating on him, you may not see it now, but in a couple weeks maybe it's a couple months, or even if you're the biggest hater in the world, maybe it'll take you a couple years. But you will see it eventually. I promise you that. I just don't know why. I really don't. Like, he's such a likable kid, and this kid's polarizing. And, listen, honestly, JJ doesn't give a shit about it, and maybe I shouldn't either, but it just kind of gets under my skin a little bit. People not realizing what he has done. So if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me those SKOLs down below in the comment section. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time. Appreciate you guys for watching. As always, SKOL Vikes. Brozama, been swagging coming in. Sorry, I had to get that little therapy session out of the way to start today's live show. I'm just kind of sick and tired of it. Brozama saying, bro beat the Lions with 140 yards. Imagine when he gets to 300-yard games. That's coming this weekend. JJ's going to light up the Ravens. I got a really good feeling about it. The Ravens secondary is susceptible to, big explosive plays. So I think it'll be good. But great point, Brozama. I mean, this offense still dropped 27, and their quarterback, as he should, was leaving a lot of meat on the bone. Third career start. So once he really gets a hang of this, it's going to be special stuff. Alrighty. If you guys want to show JJ McCarthy some love, type those 9s. And yeah, he only has 5 career losses since his freshman year of high school. Are you worried about blitzing Lamar? Because I am. We'll talk about that. It's going to be a huge kind of game plan, schematic thing defensively that I'm excited to watch. Clay, I'll see you. See you there on Sunday. Jetta's typing those 9s. Reed Southern's typing those 9s. Rocky, Braxton. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, Lamar is going to have a game. Lamar, I mean, since the beginning of last regular season, I mean, he has been, at least statistically and even the eye test, he has been probably the best quarterback in the league, just in the regular season. Obviously, playoff time rolls around. That's a different story. But last year, 5,000 all-purpose yards. I think he had like 44 touchdowns total to 4 picks. And even this year, 15 tuds, 1 turnover. Like, Lamar Jackson has been absolutely unreal. Santana, what's going on, Brody? Gino getting more hate than that. JJ Trust. See, Gino's, I think, getting hate for, his play on the field by Raiders fans. And right reasons. Raiders fans should be furious. Geno Smith has been absolutely horrible this year, Santana. JJ ceiling is enough to show the kid some love. I agree with you. I think his ceiling is a lot higher than people give him credit for. Alrighty. But I do want to talk about this Vikings-Ravens game here. Give you guys another little game preview. Talk about 5 things the Vikings need to get done this Sunday if they want to get a big-time win against a true Super Bowl contender. The Ravens are a wagon. They're a very good football team. And they're trying to rip off here. I mean, 7-8 wins in a row to finish out the season. I wish he was a Raider. LOL. Oh, he would have some juice and some more as a Raider, Santana. There's no doubt about it. Appreciate you, though, for tuning in, my guy. How good do you think the Vikings defense is going to play? We'll talk about that on the mailbag. But also right after this segment, we will be diving into a mailbag. So just use hashtag Vikings, or if you guys want to super chat to get up on the show, I'll be greatly appreciated as well. You could take a loss next week. It's expected. Yeah, you can afford a loss next week. Like, it doesn't end your season, but a win would be huge. Win would be huge. If we play like we did last Sunday, we will win. I agree with you. Vikings had one of the best performances in the league last Sunday. Hopefully they can replicate it. But let's talk about it. The Vikings will beat the Ravens if it's coming your way here in just a second. All right, appreciate everybody. Let's do it. We got a big-time matchup as the Baltimore Ravens are traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in a must-win game for both teams. So coming up on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports, we'll be giving you guys 5 reasons the Vikings will beat the Ravens if they do these 5 things. We'll talk about it here in a second, but I will say this. This will require a near-perfect game for the Vikings. The Ravens are a hungry football team. They started off 1-5. They've beaten the Bears and the Dolphins back-to-back weeks, and they're trying to win that division. They are trying to stack wins, get going, because they don't just have, playoff hopes. They have Super Bowl hopes. Like, I'm sure in that locker room, they're still saying to themselves, we can go out there and hoist the Lombardi this season. And they're telling themselves, we got to go into Minnesota. We got to get a win, get to 4-5. So this will be a very, very tough test. This is not going to be easy for the Vikings. And the Ravens, they're just hungry. But also the Vikings should be too. So we'll give you guys those 5 reasons here in a second. But if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Ravens this Sunday at U.S. Bank Stadium, that place is going to be bumping. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry coming to town. So if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Ravens, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon for me. Would greatly appreciate it. All right, quickly here, I want to get you guys the injury report from Thursday. Probably by the time you guys are seeing this video, we also have Fridays as well. But Christian Darrisaw taking his typical Thursday DNP, but he'll be out there. Will Fry's practicing in full today. He should be good to go. We're also should be getting C.J. Ham back. Theo Jackson and Aaron Jones should be out there. Josh Metellus practicing full today. Will probably be without Jeff Okudah and Josh Oliver. Harrison Smith back after just taking a rest day on Wednesday. But the one key injury to follow here, I think, is going to be Jalen Redmond. Jalen Redmond's been fantastic this season, so hopefully number 61 is able to suit up. And he'll be a big reason if the Vikings are able to do this first key to victory here. Got to limit Derrick Henry. And I know it sounds chalk. You could say this probably every single week against every single running back in the NFL, but specifically with the Ravens and King Henry, number 22, it's got to happen because he's still having a great year. In honestly what they're considering a down year for Derrick Henry, and he's still got 629 yards on the ground, 128 carries, averaging around 5 yards per clip. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns on the year, which is tied for 6th in the NFL. Now, one key thing about Henry this season, he has had 2 fumbles lost. And they also have came late in the fourth quarter. It has been a big reason why the Ravens lost 2 of their games here early. So limiting Derrick Henry is going to be huge because that Lions offense, what you're able to do to Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery was key. You were selling out on early downs. You were getting home. And also, what I loved out of Brian Flores last week was they clearly saw on film, Jahmyr Gibbs is not good in blitz pickup. So they just had Eric Wilson, Blake Cashman, have these collisions in the hole over and over again. Maybe you do the same thing with Derrick Henry. Maybe you bully the bully a little bit, which is a tough task with King Henry, number 22. But we'll see if that ends up being the case. And number 2 for me, I think a lot of this is going to come down to the Vikings through there this weekend. The passing game is going to have to carry the offense. And I think, even though I think the Vikings defense will have a good game against Baltimore, you're for sure going to have to score 24-plus points to win this game. I think the Vikings do have a chance to hold them another 20, though, but you're going to probably need to have a massive game through the air because I'll be stunned if the Vikings can consistently run the ball this weekend. Even the Ravens, without Madubuike, they still got a lot of guys up front. Big guys as well, and the Vikings have struggled against bigger defensive lines so far this season in terms of establishing the run. I mean, we saw that with the Chargers. They got some big old D linemen there. Here will limit the Vikings' run game. So I don't think the Vikings, I wonder if this could also be a situation where you get super aggressive with JJ McCarthy early on in this game because it's always typical, use the run to set up the pass. Maybe this weekend you flip it and you use JJ McCarthy's right arm to, set up the run. And listen, all the pressure's on JJ this weekend, as it will be for every single week for the rest of this season. I really believe this. There's no quarterback under more pressure in the National Football League this season than JJ McCarthy because this was a team that won 14 games the previous year. They let Sam Darnold walk. Sam Darnold looks like a legit MVP candidate so far this season. So a lot of pressure is on this guy. A lot of spotlight is on this guy. Hopefully JJ can get it done. Hopefully find number 18 a whole lot. And he goes for 150 on a Ravens secondary that is susceptible to some explosive plays so far this season. Number 3 for me, you got to sack Lamar Jackson. Not talking about pressures. The Vikings this year, they have one of the highest pressure rates in the NFL, but they're 11th in sacks. And you're taking on, in my opinion, the best dual threat quarterback I have ever seen touch NFL grass in the history of the league, and that being Lamar. And in just 5 games this season, he's averaging 3 touchdowns a game. His completion percentage is 72.9, throwing for over 1,000 yards so far this season. Also got 180 on the ground. He is absolutely fantastic. He is so dynamic, and with what the Vikings did last week, blitzing Jared Goff a whole lot, you might have to switch that up this weekend because Lamar Jackson is one of the better quarterbacks against the blitz in the NFL. Now, same was to be said about Jared Goff last week, so maybe the Vikings can find a way to generate some pressures by blitzing Lamar Jackson. But, 26 touchdowns and 6 picks against the blitz is absolutely ridiculous for Lamar. So what's going to be huge this week? You're going to have great lane integrity, which has been an issue for the Vikings all season. It's been an issue dating back to the first drive of the season, taking on Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was able to scamper all around the pocket, make guys miss, get north and south, use his legs to pick up first downs. Obviously, you're not going to be able to stop Lamar from doing it at all, but can you just limit him? And also, Jonathan Gennard, use this as motivation. I'm calling you out, number 58. You have, I think, almost 40 pressures this season, but you got 2 sacks. Get him home. do your best. I know it's a tough test this weekend, but if Johnson Gennard, give me a 3-sack game, have Van Ginkel get a couple, and the Vikings will have a good chance of getting it done. But you guys let me know what you think. Can the Vikings limit Lamar Jackson? Action Jackson, number 8, one of the best players in the league. I somehow still think this guy is underrated, and he's coming to your building this weekend. So you guys let me know. Can the Vikings defense slow him down? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no in the comments section. All right, we'll get to 2 more reasons here in a second, but I got to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Factor Meals. And if you guys head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use code VikingsChat50 off, we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the fall season always feels like a reset between back to school, busy routines, and shorter days. Finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. And also, why I love Factor, they got more variety and more meals. You guys can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, and no extra cost. And also, if you guys are a health nut like I am, they can support your wellness goals, so enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options, practice protein and good-for-you fats. So eat smart at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code VikingsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, the Vikings beat the Ravens if they win the turnover battle. This is probably the best stat around Kevin O'Connell. And obviously winning the turnover battle is always huge, but when you have the game at home, you get a big-time turnover, the crowd gets into it, can deflate an opposing team coming into that building. But the Vikings are 33-4 with an 89.2 win percentage under KOC when they tie or win the turnover battle. And he is tied with Andy Reid for the highest winning percentage since 2020 with that stat of their teams either tying or winning the turnover battle. That's the best Kevin O'Connell stat out there. It's not any offensive, designs, offensive plays, offensive stats. I think it's a turnover stat because the Vikings if they catch a break or two, they're probably going to win that football game. So take care of the football, force a couple takeaways. Should be celebrating a victory Monday here in a couple of days. But also, you got to be able to flip the field on special teams. Ryan Wright, he had 1 bad punt last week against the Lions. Besides that, I thought he was pretty money. Back-to-back drives in the second half. The Vikings kind of stalled out at midfield. KOC elected the punt, and Ryan Wright pinned him right down at the 7-yard line. Perfect punts there. So that's going to be key. But also, how about this sicko? Miles Price. He has been absolutely fantastic for the Vikings. I think he's probably the most slept on or underrated kick returner in the league. Like, you don't really think of him when you think of best kick returner in the league. Miles Price, UDFA out of Indiana. But he's been just that. Like, he's given this team juice. He's given this team energy. And right now this season, he is actually the highest graded kick returner in the NFL via PFF, as he should. Like, last week against the Lions, I think he had 156 total return yards. So he was doing a great job. I mean, the opening drive, the Lions go right down the field, put the ball in the end zone. They score on that 4th and 4 to Sam Laporta. Miles Price, the next play, flips the field right back. He takes the Vikings all the way down to the 36-yard line, and 4 plays later, the Vikings are in the end zone. It's because of this guy. The price is right. He's going to have a big-time performance. The Vikings want to get the win. So here are the 5 things they need to do. Limit Derrick Henry. Got to get the pass game going. Sack Lamar Jackson. Don't pressure him. And as always, win the turnover battle. And special teams, do what you did last week. And hopefully the Vikings are getting a win again. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Predict the score for me. Ravens taking on the Vikings in US Bank Stadium. You guys let me know how you're feeling about this one. And we'll get on out of here. As always, SKOL Vikes. Yeah, and the TD got taken off. He would have had over 215 yards returning if he was able to keep that TD on the board. Echo Edits, we'll see you. Appreciate you. But we did have Santana coming in with a $20 super chat. Appreciate you, my guy. Saying, you still cover my Lakers, by the way? No, I unfortunately do not. That's Jeffrey Cooperstein. He is doing the Lakers videos as of recently, but Santana it was a good time. Luka Doncic, how about him? 41-11-9 to start the season. Austin Reeves, 31-10-9 or whatever he's averaging. Ridiculous stuff by the Lakers. They look pretty damn good because they got one of the best players in the world. It's that easy. Echo Edit saying, how many sacks are we getting? You know what I know what you want me to say. I'm gonna say 5 or 6 sacks, Echo Edits. How about that? How about that? I appreciate you though. Shout out to you. Maybe 6 or 7. Who the hell knows, Echo? Who the hell knows? 6 or 7 sacks, and the Vikings are probably winning that game. Dallas Turner is not a bust. Hopefully you're right. Yeah, if the Vikings win this weekend, we're going to the NFC title game, which is pretty cool. Oh, Santana, if you my guy will as you're coming in again saying I don't know if JJ can get it done, but 9 LFG. I love that a Raiders fan supporting JJ. By the way, Santana, these kids in the live chat will ask me questions, setting me up just to say 6 or 7. They're locked in when it comes to that. So it's been a little bit on the channel. So shout out to my guy Echo Edits and Santana. I appreciate you, my guy, for tuning in and watching today's live show. But we will be getting into a mailbag here. So get those questions up on screen. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on today's show. Need a couple more questions in there. So if you guys could, hashtag Vikings. Let your thoughts be known down below in the comment section. What's your score prediction? 30-17 in favor of the good guys. Hey, Pat, I truly called that win last mailbag. Do you think the Vikings got a better chance at beating the Ravens than we did the Lions? Probably about the same. The only thing is just the emotional letdown spot. Like, JJ addressed it right after the game when he's breaking the team down. He said, we can't have this be an emotional letdown game, and he's right for saying that. But, like, if we're following the Vikings' history here, they will always have a game where they will win, where nobody thinks they're going to win. And then the next week in a game where I'm not saying people think we're going to beat the Ravens, but it just would be very typical, very on brand for the Vikings to get, like, blown out in this ball game. But hopefully it's not the case. We will have a raffle this weekend, Reed. Harvey Buxton. It's actually a good question on JJ. Appreciate you. Did the Lions have all their old linemen starting against the Lions? Or against the Vikings? Yeah, Lions had all their guys. I think 40-37 Vikings. That would be a heart attack of a game. Hope we can limit Lamar after we struggle to stop Herbert. Yeah, 100%, Andrew. Like, that's going to be huge this weekend. Just laying integrity with these guys. Because, like, Herbert, I mean, that Chargers game was so frustrating to watch, but he'll just kind of dance around, make one move, and, like, the Vikings defensive linemen, they just run up the field. And then he just got north and south, picking it up with his legs. So, that's going to be huge. Patrick, do you imagine that Samuel from the Chargers goes to the Vikings? Hi from Panama. Oh, love to hear that. I have no idea. I mean, he's visiting with 5 other teams on top of the Vikings, so we'll see there. Andrew Van Ginkel, NFL MVP. I don't hate it. NFC wins. K.O. Williams 1. JJ 2. Is it NFC wins, actually? Or is it just NFC North wins? No, K.O. has to have more than one. Yeah, no, because he beat the Commanders and Cowboys this year. How do you think our corners will match up with the Ravens receiving core? That's a good question. Not feeling too confident about it. I think the Ravens have an underrated receiving core. Like, Bateman's a stud. Zay Flowers is obviously a hell of a player. And also, like, tight ends have killed the Vikings this year. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. I probably should change my score prediction. Ravens are going to score at least 24 points. I'm going to go 30-27 in favor of the Vikes now. They just got some dogs over there. I mean their offense is literally a Madden, like, franchise mode offense. But we shall see. Who the hell knows? What if Flores just hops in that bag? All right, we're going to dive into this mailbag. If you guys got any last thoughts, super chat, hashtag Vikings to get up on today's show. But, yeah, JJ does have more NFC North wins than KO. I tweeted that out, and Bears fans were crying in the comment section. Alrighty. You guys are ready to rock and roll? Let's do it. We got a Minnesota Vikings mailbag heading your way on today's show. Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. These are my favorite shows I do every single week where it's just me and you chopping it up about the Minnesota Vikings. We'll dive into this mailbag, answer your questions here for about the next 10 to 13 minutes. We're going to start off here with Harvey Buxton, the biggest JJ McCarthy fan out there, saying, do you think JJ is a system QB? And is a system QB good enough for this team to win? Fantastic question. And yeah, I think 100% right now in his career, like he is a system quarterback. And, same with most young quarterbacks. Like I even think Caleb Williams right now is a system quarterback. Drake May's probably, and Jaden Daniels, only two from that draft class where you wouldn't say they're a system quarterback. But we saw a guy like Brock Purdy, last pick in the entire NFL draft. He is a typical system quarterback. And, he left the field in overtime of a Super Bowl going against Patrick Mahomes. It really does. Like if you have a high-end system quarterback, like you can win a Super Bowl. I think that's a little misconception about the NFL here. So, 110%. I think he's good enough to win, or I think a system quarterback's good enough to win. It's just, can KOC and Brian Flores continue to carry this organization? But yeah, I think JJ McCarthy, system quarterback right now. Hopefully in a couple of years, he is the system for the Vikings. Love Cruz is coming in saying, is playoffs something we should be talking about? This NFC North unit is extremely strong, and we have very hungry teams in our schedule upcoming. Playoffs should 100% be something we're talking about, even though it's not looking likely as it stands right now. But, if you're able to beat the Ravens this weekend, maybe you beat the Bears the following week, you get to 6-4. Then you got two tough games on the road against the Packers, on the road against the Seahawks. But then you got an easier stretch. You got the Commanders at home. Then you're in Dallas, you're in New York. You got to probably win all three of those games. And you got two home games against the Packers and Lions to finish out the year. So if you just go 2-2 over the next four, get to 6-6, rip off three in a row against the NFC East, which is, shockingly by far the worst division in football this season. Get to 9-6, then you split with the Lions and Packers to finish it out. 10-7. Hopefully that gets you in. But it's gonna be an uphill battle. That's what it all comes down to. JJ McCarthy, if he can develop and he can really start hitting his stride during the last couple of weeks of the season, hopefully the Vikings are, going to be a playoff team this season. But Reed Southern, what's going on? Saying, do you think Asante Samuel Jr. will come and stay with us? As we know, he has his visit on Friday. I don't think he's going to obviously sign after that visit, since he also has a visit. I think his last one is next Wednesday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the only tricky thing is here, and I think Asante Samuel might end up in Pittsburgh, the doctor who did his offseason surgery is a Pittsburgh Steelers team doctor. Now, how much impact does that make? Probably would have to ask Asante himself, but we'll see. If I had to put my money on it, he'll probably end up in Pittsburgh. Hey, man, I think he would be a great pickup. Hopefully the Vikings don't let him leave the room or leave the building that day. Yeah, I'm going to probably say the Vikings don't sign Asante Samuel, even though, obviously, I really want them to. Pierce Clark saying, how do we contain Flowers with our full focus being on Henry and Lamar? It's a better question for Brian Flores. It's going to be tough. I thought Byron Murphy, he got beat a couple of times by Amon-Ra, but he was still in the right spot most of the time. He was just about a half a step behind, and Amon-Ra is one of the best receivers in the league. But, yeah, it's going to be tough. The Ravens offense, it's not just Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. They also have probably the best tight end duo in the league with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. You also got a guy like Bateman thrown in there. They have a lot of dudes. They really do feel like a Madden offense where you're just creating a Madden team in franchise mode. They are that good. So it's going to be a big test for that team this weekend. But again, starts up front. If you can dominate in the trenches, if you can stop that run game on early downs, get Lamar in the third and long situations, which he could still pick him up. Lamar's a hell of a football player, but you just got to get yourself in advantageous spots, and it starts with King Henry. I understand. Lamar Jackson's probably the third best football player in the entire world right now, behind Allen and Mahomes. But it starts with King Henry. That's where their offense is built off of. So, tough test. Brian Flores probably has a better answer for that. Jettis, what's going on? Saying, do you think Sunday is more of what to come, or do you think that Sunday is more of what to come from this Vikings team? They played like I expected to see all year, from our defense and offense. I hope so. You guys know I'm a very optimistic Vikings fan. That was the team I expected on Sunday this entire season. And I think if I kind of wanted to take a sip of purple Kool-Aid here, I would say that was the most healthy this Vikings team has been the entire year. Because even in Chicago week 1, you didn't have Darisaw, you didn't have Jordan Addison. Andrew Van Ginkel was pretty much a no-show up until last week's game. Blake Cashman was on short-term IR. Aaron Jones was on short-term IR. The offensive line was just a carousel for the 4 weeks prior, but then you got both tackles back. You got both guards back. Blake Brandel had a great game at center. So hopefully the biggest reason why we haven't seen that version of the Vikings all season is because of the injuries, and also your quarterback was back. Clearly this team loves playing with him. Clearly they love rallying around him. So I'm going to say yeah. But also that team that you saw on Sunday, it doesn't guarantee you beat a team like the Ravens, because that Ravens team, they're a hell of a football team. Like, if both teams play their A-plus game, honestly, if the Ravens play their A-plus game, I don't know if there's a team in the NFL that can beat them, no matter where they're playing. So you're going to try force the Ravens to play like a B-plus game, Vikings play an A-plus game, and hopefully they get a win. But and we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm feeling somewhat optimistic. I am going to change my score prediction. I had 30-17 earlier in the week. I think that's a little too much purple Kool-Aid in my system. So I'm going to go 30-27 in favor of the Vikings. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. Predict the score for me. Vikings, Ravens, U.S. Bank Stadium, Week 10. Drop the score predictions down below. Now we'll get to more of your guys' questions here in a second, but today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, the hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, and you can pick up to the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. For example, if you guys want to pick more on JJ McCarthy's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. You guys can also follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in just one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or to someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. I use PrizePicks for almost every single football, basketball, hockey, and baseball game I watch. And if you guys give them a chance, trust me, you really like it. Got that link for you in the comment section and description of today's show. But download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS. Get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Joshua coming in with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, my friend, saying, do you worry that JJ won't have that pass connection with Jettas to get him the stats like Sam did? I mean, it obviously won't be the same connection early on in JJ McCarthy's career. Sam Darnold and Jefferson, they got on the same page very, very fast, but you already kind of started to see it build. Like that one fade route that he had to Jefferson for the one-handed touchdown, that was a perfectly thrown ball. And also Jefferson mentioned it. Like, he was saying, like, JJ's got a lot more zip on the ball compared to Darnold, compared to Kirk Cousins. So, like, he also needs to get used to it. But, just like anything in life, it's going to come down to reps. Like, I'm sure guys you work with at work, like, once you get more reps under your belt, you just get better at whatever you're doing. And especially with the game of football, that is true. So, am I worried about it? No, but I don't know if they'll get to the connection that those two had this year. But we'll see. We'll see. Santana, my guy, coming in saying, #Vikings. Honest question. What's JJ's trade value right now, in your opinion? I'm assuming you're talking about Jefferson, but you're talking about McCarthy. I mean, the Vikings wouldn't give him up for, unless you just blow him away with an offer of like 3 first-round picks. But I don't think they would, he wouldn't be on the table. And the same can be said for Justin Jefferson. We saw Sauce Gardner go for 2 firsts and a player. Jefferson has way more value than Sauce, so maybe it's 3 firsts and a player and a second. But both those guys are probably untouchable, Santana. But I like that. I like that question. Definitely thought-provoking there, so shout out to my guy. But we also got Exile coming in saying, how do you think our corners will match up with the Ravens receiving core? I'm not feeling good about it. I think the Ravens receiving core, it's always been a heavily criticized group under the Lamar Jackson era, but I think with what they got right now, it's pretty damn good. Zay Flowers, Bateman, you got 2 good tight ends. You got 4 elite pass-catching options for one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And also Bateman, freak athlete. Zay Flowers, freak athlete. We have seen these freaky wide receivers really give the Vikings defense problems. Like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith killed them. Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, those guys, even though the Vikings won, they had good games the previous week. So I'm not feeling too good about the matchup. Again, I think this game is going to come down to the Vikings offense, and more specifically, JJ McCarthy and this passing attack, if you want to get a win this weekend. If JJ brings his good stuff, if he has a good game, kind of an I'm here moment, going toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson. That's probably how the Vikings win this one. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the Vikings are able to run the ball, play some good defense. Don't ask JJ they do too much. That would be an ideal situation, but I just don't think that's going to be the case this Sunday. Echoetics coming in saying, how many sacks are we getting this weekend? I know you want me to say 6 or 7, but I'm going to call my shot here. I'm just going to go 3 sacks. I don't think it's going to be crazy. But my bold prediction here, Jonathan Gennard, he's getting 2. I think 58's going to get home 2 times. I mean, he's got almost 40 pressures on the season, only 2 sacks. He's been doing a great job. He's been winning his reps a whole lot. He just needs to finish those. So how many sacks for the Vikes? I'll go 2. Pierce saying, do you think JJ McCarthy should be a candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year if he was eligible? Interesting question. Now, this would be like if the NFL changed the rule as to how the NBA does it, where if you miss your whole rookie season, or I think it's about 15 games, if you play less than 15 games, you are eligible for the next year. I'm going to say no. I just think like you have to be a true rookie to win that award, because there is a benefit to like JJ sitting a whole year being in an NFL organization. That's why that 1 year, I think Ben Simmons won it over Donovan Mitchell, I'm pretty sure, in the NBA. Like that was a little ludicrous. Like Ben Simmons was already with the Sixers, with their weight training program for a whole season. So I'm going to say no. I just think it should be only allowed for if you are a true rookie. F. with McCarthy coming in saying, what are your thoughts if we traded for, let's imagine that the trade deadline hasn't happened yet, a stud defensive player like Ramsey, or a shutdown player for like 1 or 2 first-round picks? So, we can just take the Sauce Gardner deal, for example. The Indianapolis Colts went all in, gave up 2 firsts for Sauce. Listen, it would be cool. The Vikings would definitely get better for this upcoming season, but they just weren't in a position to do that. Now, I will say if the Vikings were 6-2, 7-1, hell yeah, be aggressive. Do what you got to do, because aggressive wins in the NFL. Like Howie Roseman, the most aggressive GM in the NFL over the last couple of years, you sometimes got to kind of put your nuts on the table, make a bold move, and even though I think the Colts overpaid for Sauce, you got to respect them really trying here. Like, you really do, because you are going against, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, and now you're going to probably have the best cornerback duo in the entire league when Charvarius Ward hopefully gets healthy. He was having an all-pro season before he got hurt with that concussion. So, I mean, I respect it. I think that was a fun trade for both teams. But with where the Vikings were at, I'm going to say I'm happy with how they handled the deadline. But I do wish it maybe would have traded for another corner, like a 6th, 7th round late pick swap, just to get another body in the building. But hey, Asante Samuel comes and signs with the Vikes. Got no problems with how they handled the deadline. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Just hit me with those SKOLs down below in the comment section. And we'll get on out of here. As always, SKOL Vikes. Alrighty. Nah, Pat, I deleted that chat. That's illegal. All right, you're talking about the Rookie of the Year? Yeah, I thought you were just kind of asking like the hypothetical on it. Yeah, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're going to get on out of here. Shout out to all the real ones. We'll be back 11 a.m. Sunday, Battle of the Purple. Vikings, Ravens, U.S. Bank Stadium. But shout out to all of you guys. Santana, appreciate all the super chats and the rest of the people that super chatted today. So appreciate all of y'all. And we'll get on out of here. SKOL Vikes.